Alright, so I'm finally back with another 2,000 point battle report. It's been really crazy lately. My wife and I just had twins, so that's why I've been down and out for a little bit. But I'm back at the house now, so I'm making other reports. I'm playing IG and Orks. Actually, rather, it's Orks and IG. Orks the primary with an IG ally. I have a little bit of proxying going on, but not too much. Over in that truck there is Gazgul and 4 Meg Armor Knobs. He's my war boss, of course. And then I have this Basilisk is supposed to be a Colossus Siege Mortar. I'm working on building one, but it's not complete yet. And so that's there. The war tracks here are supposed to be just cannons with grots manning them. I have another 2, there's 2 there, and I have another 2 on top of this building. So those are cannons. But that's about it. And then over here we have, was it 20 boys? No, 30. 30 boys with 3 rockets, power claw knob. 2 truck boy squads, both with a big shooter, 12 boys, and a power claw knob. And then I have 40 guardsmen led by Yarick himself. There's the man down there. It's kind of a funny list because it's got Yarick and Gazgul in it and they hate each other. But it's pretty awesome. And then in reserve I have a Vendetta and a Dakajet. And the Vendetta has my platoon command squad in it. So just 5 dudes that have absolutely no upgrades. And I'm playing against just Codex Marines today. My wife is taking out the Codex Marines. They're nothing special, but it's a very vanilla list that I think will do good against my Orks over here. In the corner she has 2 squads of snipers. Actually it was 1 squad that was combat squad. So there's a missile launcher in the left hand squad. And then they all have snipers. There is half of a tactical squad there with a las cannon. The other half is in that assault cannon Razorback with a combi plasma and plasma gun. There's another combi plasma gun, assault cannon Razorback back there, and the other half of that tactical squad is hiding around the corner there. And of course in the front we have a Vindicator. Behind the wall there you can kind of see the top of it is a Whirlwind. It's actually my Mana Core turret on a Rhino, but it's a Whirlwind for today. In reserve, she has a Dreadnought and a Drop Pod with Twin-Linked Heavy Flamer and Heavy Flamer. And then Kato Sicarius is in one of those 2 Razorbacks. That's her Warlord. And allows one of her tactical squads to scout. So he's outflanking the tactical squad there. And they have Melta, Multi-Melta, and Combi Melta. And then in reserve is a Storm Raven over there in the window with 6 Thunderhammer Stormshield Terminators. Because after the... I don't remember what that expansion was called with the all the flyers in it. Now they can take Storm Ravens. So Codex Marine Storm Raven. And right now I have first turn. We'll be back with Orks and see what happens. Alright, so back after turn 1, as you can see I didn't move. Sicarius, this reroll siege initiative, actually seized on me. So Space Marines had turn 1. And the Dreadnought landed here and actually barbecued 9 boys. So I lost my entire front line there of boys. And also got a penetrating hit on this truck and blew the missile launcher off, or the rocket off the front of it. The scouts on the left hand side over there fired into Gaz's truck and got a single penetrating hit on that one with their sniper rifles and blew the rocket off of that one too. So I actually got really lucky there that just the rockets got blown off of them, but both of them took a penetrating hit. All these moved up, the 2 Razorbacks popped smoke, the Vindicator fired, tried to hit this truck and a group of guardsmen here, but it scattered all the way back, directly back at it. The Whirlwind fired in, you can kind of see that hole missing in the middle of the squad there. It landed directly on target and blew up a whole bunch of guardsmen. And then some of the 2 Lascan squads both fired in my squad of cannons and both did nothing. One rolled a 1 to wound, the other one just missed. So back now with Ork and IG turn 1 and see how I retaliate. Alright, so back to the end of Ork turn 1, and it wasn't a bad turn, but don't surround a Dreadnought with Orks and then blow it up. I figured I was going to have to assault it because I didn't have any faith in these rockets, but they shot in and actually exploded that Dreadnought and then killed a whole bunch of my Orks in the explosion because I'd surrounded him. So that's bad. The only other thing I really did this turn is my Colossus fired in, tried to kill those 5 guys, scattered off, landed on that Razorback, and only glanced it, so it took a whole point off that Razorback. Other than that, it was just a bunch of moving around. Guardsmen ran in and spread out from the, trying to hide from the Whirlwind back there. This truck moved and went flat out all the way over there. The other truck moved and went flat out to there, and Gaz's truck, he got the Warlord trait that makes him a scoring unit, or scoring model I guess, and he's with some scoring knobs because he is a war boss, so they're over there trying to take the objective hiding behind that ruin, and that was my turn, basically just moving up and taking ground. We'll be back with Space Marine turn and see if the reserves come in. Alright, so back at the end of Space Marine turn 2, and their reserves showed up, oh no, I lied, one of them stayed off, the tactical squad that's outflanking stayed off the table, but the Thunderhammer Stormshield Terminators in the Storm Raven showed up, came back trying to take out my Colossus back here, didn't do it, but did get a penetrating hit and stunned it, so it can't shoot next turn, and then I got also a glancing hit, so it's down to 1 whole point. And then other than that, I got first blood on this truck right here in the middle. and then unloaded the guys from the Razorbacks so I could shoot into it, but the, what was that thing called? The Whirlwind pretty much took care of it all by itself, landed a direct hit, wiped out most of the squad, then some other fire came in from there. The Knob is left alive, he's got no wounds on him, but he's falling back all by himself. He failed his leadership, so he's running. So, see if he rallies on Snake Eyes. Over here, the other truck was destroyed, but it ramshackled and careened forward. In the explosion that happened afterwards, it took out one of the tactical members in the back behind that cannon wall. And I only actually lost 2 Orks from that and from the shooting. I made crazy cover saves over there, so there's still 10 Orks left alive over there, and they're doing good. And I think I lost 4 guardsmen from not the Predator, the Vindicator in front of me nuked the front line of guardsmen. So we'll see if I can get my reserves on and can take care of this flyer over here. And if not, I could potentially lose my left flank. Alright, so the end of Ork and IG turn 2, my Daka jet did not come on, but my Vendetta did. This thing is amazing right here. My dice were hot, and I got 3 glances and 2 pens from these rockets down here, this and my cannons down there, all shot into that. 3 glances, 2 pens, and it ended up only taking 1 whole point off from a glance. Made a ton of jinx saves. And over there, my Meganobs came up, jumped out, dual assaulted, killed the entire left squad, killed all but one in the right squad. He broke and ran, only ran 3 inches, so he'll even rally and shoot me with a stupid sniper rifle. My guardsmen made it into assault with that Razorback, and believe it or not, 4 guardsmen wrecked it with frag grenades. Only 4 dudes, they hit all 4 times and rolled 3 6s and actually wrecked a Razorback. The squad over here that was in that truck, combi assaulted that half a tactical squad, and the Whirlwind wrecked the Whirlwind and broke the tactical squad, but they're back there and they're gonna rally next turn. They didn't run all the way off the table, so they're still good. But my Orks are hiding behind the cannon wall there, so hopefully at least a couple will survive to finish them off. And there's an objective back there. Maybe they'll take it, but probably not. And that's where we're at right now. This thing is full of Terminators here, so that's gonna be bad for me. But we'll back with Space Marine turn 3 and see what happens. Alright, so we had a good turn for the Space Marines. Their last reserve came on, outflanked on this side of the table. Between the squad here, that little 5-man, and this squad here fired in and just nuked the entire front swath of guardsmen here, but Yark stands alone up front. He'd look outside a bunch when that squad shot and this squad shot and finished everything behind him. Over there, the Storm Raven decided to go into hover mode and just backed up, dropped off the Terminators, and then they just ran. They're going over to try to counter those Meganobs in the corner. He also, my wife fired into the Colossus, the siege mortar, and blew it up because that needed to die. That's going to start nuking Marines in the back. Other than that, I lost 2 Orks in the back corner behind the cannons back there, and I lost a single Meganob from this little fire base here in the middle. So that's where we're at the end of 3 for the Marines. I'm going to see if I can't get my Daka jet on and fight back. Alright, so the end of Ork IG turn 3, and it didn't go too bad for us. Shooting was pretty dismal, but the assaults went pretty well. So the only thing that really happened in shooting is my Vendetta went into hover mode, backed up here, and took out the Storm Raven. Then I shot into the drop pod with this squad of Orks and did nothing. I did a single hull point to that Razorback with my lone cannon down here. I lost a cannon, by the way, to the plasma cannon on that thing. And I did a single hull point, but it's still alive. I just glanced at it, so it's got 1 hull point left. My Meganobs did nothing. I surrounded that scout, but then didn't charge him. I ended up shooting at the squad of plasma guns over here, but just whiffed. I did like, I can't remember, a crazy number of hits, and then just didn't wound. Over here, though, the assault went really well. This big blob squad charged into that squad after shooting them with my melta guns and the Stormbolter from Yark and wiped them out. And then the Orks in the back, my remaining 4 Orks killed his remaining 2 tactical Marines back there, or my wife's. I keep saying he, I used to play like guys. But killed my wife's 2 tactical Marines who were hiding behind the can. And these guys assaulted in with the Power Claw Knob and wrecked the drop pod, so it's dead now. And my lone guy is still fleeing. He cannot roll Snake Eyes. He has maybe 1 more turn to try. But that's where we're at the end of turn 3. Everything's on the table now except for my Daka jet. It still did not show up. So we'll see what Space Marines do to retaliate in their turn 4. Alright, so we're back at the end of Space Marine turn 4, and once again, it's going their way pretty good here. The Terminators made it into, actually, first of all, the last cannon squad back there in the center of that, and also this squad with the Combi Plasma and Plasma Gun fired in and took down 2 of the Meganobs. And the Terminators made like an 11-inch charge, even though there was training there. They didn't even care. And smushed the rest of the squad. There's only like 1 guy left, and did a wound to Gaz. Gaz did kill a single Terminator back, though, and but he broke and ran. So he's currently fleeing, and he took a single wound. The lone scout that I ignored because I thought he was insignificant ran up and blew up a truck with a friggin' crack grenade. So he blew up that truck, and it didn't kill him in the explosion. And then over here, these guys took a whole crap ton of shooting and just didn't care about it at all. I mean, it just all bounced off. But then during the assault, they got punched in the face pretty good. But there's still 5 guys left and Commissar Yark. And I have 1 sergeant left alive in there. So they're still there, I guess. And my wife has Cato Sicarius there, and then a single TAC Marine in that combat. So we'll see if Yark can take down Cato Sicarius. And that was pretty much it for this turn. Yep, just nuked the Mega Knobs and then shot the Blob Squad. So back with Ork turn 4, and my Dagger Jet finally comes on the table. Alright, so the end of Ork turn 4, and we finally had a really good turn. The Dagger Jet here came on, and I declared a wall this turn so I could get Gazgul his Tulip Invulnerable save and get a Dagger Jet crazy shots. Fired in and wiped out that Plasma Squad that was sitting there in the middle. Gazgul tried to snapshot that pesky little scout. I hit him and wounded, but he made a save. Let's see what else happened. Nothing. Oh, the Vendetta blew up the. Didn't remove it yet, but that a Vindicator is actually a wreck. It didn't explode. It's just a wreck. Got 3 hits and a glance and 2 pen with las cannons. And over here, it's down to 4 guardsmen and Yark versus Cato Sicarius. And that was all I did this turn. So it was pretty good. Killed that tactical squad and killed the last troop out of that tactical squad. So right now there's just the tac squad in the middle there and a lone scout hanging over there. But there's a squad of Terminators to help protect him. So we'll be back with Space Marine turn 5 and see what happens. Alright, so the end of Space Marine turn 5, and they keep pounding me even though they have very little left on the board. The Assault Cannon Razorback hide behind the tower here, shot in and immobilized my Dagger Jet. I jinked because I got 2 penetrating hits and made 1 save, the other one went through and immobilized it. So it's going to be flying in a straight line. I called in my wall last turn, so Gaz has a 2-up invulnerable save, but still took 2 wounds from the Terminators and then killed none in return. So he's down to 1 wound left, and he's going to get beat to death this turn because he's not going to have a 2-up anymore. Over here, Sicarius versus Yark, the epic duel, and Sicarius is winning. Put 2 wounds on Yark, and Yark only put 1 back on him. So Yark will probably die, but let's see if he comes back because he's a man of iron. Other than that, that was all that really happened this turn. Right now, if it ends, I get my turn, but if it ends, I will win it. But if it goes on another turn, the Marines have a good chance of taking it because they'll kill my characters. So we're back at turn 5 for Orks. Alright, so Ork turn 5, and I really need it to end right now. Gaz got beat down by Thunderhammers. I did kill 1 in return though. I actually took more casualties on my turn than I did back. So Gaz died to Terminators, but I killed 1. Over on this side, my Vendetta was able to blow up that Rhino that was over there and dropped my platoon command squad on this objective. That Rhino kept shooting at my Orks who were hiding behind that can back there on the objective, so I had to kill it to get out of the way. And then Yark, the man himself, took it in the face and died, so he went down, and then Sicarius swept the rest of the squad, so I lost that whole thing. See if Yark comes back here next turn, if it goes on. And that's it. So currently I have it with, I have Linebreaker and that objective over there, and I also have these 2. So currently I have 10 points to like 6, 7, 8. Currently it's 10 to 8. But if it goes on and I lose those 3 Orks in that corner, it's all over. So we'll see if the game ends right now. Here we go. That's a 5, so it keeps going. That's unfortunate. So we'll be back and see what happens. Alright, so the end of Space Marine turn 6, and currently they've swung it, but it could go my way. I moved these Orks up trying to shoot my rocket launchers at that lone scout over the last turn. I wandered just a little too close to those Terminators. And the Twin-Link Assault Cannon Razorback hiding there, and shot in, and then the Assault Terminators assaulted in, and broke my squad that was there. I have 2 guys left alive, but they're running. So this guy here has been running since turn 2, is not off the table yet, but he's right there, and then these guys are right, so they'll probably fall off the table and die. So currently I hold this objective, and then Sicarius tried to assault in back there, but my Power Claw knob got the best of him, and took him out. Sicarius is not the best in close combat. But, so I hold that objective, and I hold this objective, but currently the Marines hold the center one, and that lone pesky scout that I should have just assaulted my Mega Knobs, I didn't want to waste my time with him, but now he's holding an objective, is holding up the game for me, because they got first blood, so they're winning it currently. But I'll be back with Ork turn 6, my Dak is just going to fly off the table because he's freaking immobilized, he can't do anything, and see what happens. Alright, it's the end of Ork turn 6, and the Marines survive. The only thing I have that can shoot at that scout is this Vendetta, so I fired into it, hit twice, wounded twice, and then the scout went to ground to make 2 saves. So that lone pesky scout could win these guys the game. Other than that, I fired all my short-range stuff like these guys and stuff into the Terminators, managed to kill 1, so there's only 3 Terminators alive. They passed their leadership check. And the man himself, Yarrick, stood back up. He's on the move again. He's back there. He'll never make it there because we only have 1 turn left, but if it goes on, maybe shoot a Stormbolter or something. So right now, if it ends, the Marines will win it. And my wife rolled last time, so I'm going to try and roll, see what goes on. It's a 4, so it goes on to turn 7. So my Dak Jet will come back in for one last pass and maybe take out that scout. We'll be back and see what it ends. Alright, so I just went and did all of turn 7 because it was really quick. The Terminators failed their assault onto my guys over here, which basically was the end of the game. So I held on to this objective. My Orks are still cowering back there in the corner holding that objective. The Dak Jet flew back on the table, and with it and the Vendetta was able to take out that scout. He's still there because we haven't pulled him off yet. But take off the scout holding the objective. So they're just left with the center one in the middle there. Yarrick tried to pull off an epic charge, but needed 11 inches into terrain. Of course, it didn't happen. But anyway, so they have the one in the middle there, and they also have First Blood, Linebreaker, and Warlord. So it's 6 points for the Marines and 8 points for the Orks because we hold an objective here and an objective there for 6 points, and I also have Linebreaker because the Orks are over there, and killed the Kato for Warlord. So it was actually a really close game. If it had ended on turn 5, it was Orks, turn 6 was back to Space Marines, and then turn 7 it was back to Orks again. So the Orks pull it off with the Dak Jet for the win, and thanks for watching. Alright, so we're back with a rematch between the Orks and the Ork IG and then the Space Marines on that side. We forgot at the end of the last game, like turn 5, 6, and 7 should have been a night fight. So we're doing a rematch because it could have ended in a draw last time. The Space Marines, my wife's army, changed up a little bit. She wasn't a fan of Kato, Sicarius. He just didn't do much. So we're trying Kasoro Khan this time, so all the Razorbacks can outflank if they want. But they ended up being deployed this time because it's your base, my base mission. And Space Marines have turn 1. But anyway, so her objective is behind that big can wall along with her whirlwind. You can see the 5 guys on the right there are sniper scouts. There is half of a tactical squad back there with a missile launcher. There are 2 more combat squads from tactical squads there with 2 more missile launchers. And then the 2 gray Razorbacks there have assault cannons, and the black Razorback on the left side also has an assault cannon. The black one though has a combi melta and melta gun inside along with Kasoro Khan. And the 2 gray ones have plasma and combi plasma inside. And then of course there's a Vindicator, and there is a scout squad with snipers on top of that big building there. And then also in reserve is a drop pod with a Dreadnought, the twin-linked Heavy Flamer and Heavy Flamer, and then in the Storm Raven in reserve over there in the window, there are 6 Thunderhammer Storm Shield Terminators and another Dreadnought with an underslung Heavy Flamer. So that's what she has. I'm running the same list I just used with the Basilisk standing in as a Colossus. The big guns are supposed to be cannons. They're war buggy standing as cannons because I haven't built them yet. 2 of them there and 2 more there. And then I have 3 trucks. 2 of them have boys inside with power claw knob and big shooter. The center one has gas and 4 mega armor knobs in it. And then I have 30 boys, 3 rockets and a power claw knob. And then I have 40 guardsmen with 4 melta guns and Commissar Yarrick. So I have Gaz and Yarrick on the same army because it's just funny. And then in reserve I have a Vendetta and a Dak Jet, and the Vendetta has my platoon command squad in it with absolutely nothing. So that's the army and deployment. Right now it's night fight and Space Marines have turn 1, so I'm going to try and seize the initiative. And I get a 4, so definitely not. So Space Marines have turn 1, we'll see what they do. Alright, for turn 1, the Space Marines really brought vengeance down on the Orks here. The Heavy Flamer Dreadnought. Alright, so the end of Space Marine turn 1, and the Space Marines had quite the turn. The twin-linked Heavy Flamer Dreadnought landed here, and I didn't quite space out my trucks far enough, so he hit the left-hand truck and the center truck with Gaz in it. Immobilized Gaz's truck, so it's just sitting there useless, and then stunned, crew shaken. Crew shaken on the left, so it can't shoot this turn. But getting that immobilized really hurt. The Vindicator fired in and hit the big guns up front. Actually, I had a leadership for that guy. But clipped this truck also and exploded that truck. Only rolled a 5 on the ramshackle though, so they just bailed out. They didn't get blown up in the explosion. And then the Razorback there finished off that last big gun because he took a wound from the blast, and then took another wound from the Razorback. So I'm going to take a leadership check, so I also lost the Grotzer with it. That's all that happened on this side. Everything else, the entire rest of the army shot into this squad of Orks. There's only 16 left out of 30, so cut them in half. And it was night fight, so it was a lot of shooting for night fight. Basically, they all just advanced about 6 inches, and everything just fired into me, spotlighting me with the Razorbacks, and then unloading on me with everything else. So that's it. I'm going to do a leadership check real quick for this guy, see if he runs away, because they're only leadership 5 on big guns. Oh yeah, on 8, they're going to run off the table. So back with Ork turn 1 and see what I do. Alright, the end of Ork turn 1, and it was really uneventful. I assaulted the drop pod and assaulted the dreadnought. I killed the dreadnought after losing a couple guys in combat, and did not manage to kill the drop pod. The thing can't fight back and is mobilized, just stood there. I did do 2 hull points to it though, so it's only got 1 left. On the far side, I did a hull point to that left-hand Razorback with the squad that just got all shot with their 3 rockets. Managed to do a single hull point, only a glancing hit though, so it's fine. And then my Colossus killed 2 guys out of that Marine squad there, but they passed their pinning check and passed their morale check. But the missile launcher did die, so at least there's no missile launcher left over there. And other than that, the guardsman just moved and ran. That one big gun I rolled for leadership last time fell off the table, so he's gone. And that is all I did. So I'll be back with Space Marine turn 2 and see if their Storm Raven comes on. So the end of Space Marine turn 2, and things went a little better for me this time. The Storm Raven came on, and the Dreadnought deep struck out from inside of it because it didn't want to get blown up if I come on with my Vendetta. So it landed back there. The Storm Raven fired into my Colossus and missed everything. Well, didn't miss. It got a few hits but didn't penetrate the front armor. But the Plasma Cannon on the top machine spirited over into my Meganobs, which their truck got blown up, and then the Plasma Cannon on the Storm Raven took one of the Meganobs out. So that truck got wrecked. Over here, everything just fired into the squad around the drop pod. There's only 4 left. But they were able to kill the drop pod in the assault phase because they were still in base contact with it. And pretty much everything on the right side fired into my guardsmen, but they actually survived really well. It's really, really bad rolling. So they only lost about 6 casualties, I think, out of this blob. And the whirlwind in the back just scattered off the table, tried to land like right there, and went 9 inches over. So it wasn't too bad for me. I lost Gaz's truck, but he's going to try and hijack that one next to him and right off the table, or right off somewhere safe. So we'll be back at the end of my turn and see what happens. Alright, it's the end of Ork turn 2, and my Daka Jet came on, but my Vendetta did not. Over here we guys moved up on the right. My surviving truck hid in the ruin, and Gaz and his boys moved up behind it, trying to hijack it next turn. My daughter's trying to play over there. But anyway, so these 4 boys who took down the drop pod moved to the right and just kind of hanging out there. Other big squad who fought the Dreadnought moving up, they fired their big shooters into the scouts, but to no avail. I fired this squad into one of these 2 Razorbacks and just missed with everything, but then the Daka Jet took out the left one, fired all of its twin-link super shooters into it. The big guns left the other one alive, still couldn't hurt that one on the right. My guardsmen fired in, took out a couple of scouts, and then like 2 scouts left, and then my Colossus missed again, just scattered 9 inches forward. So really all I achieved this turn is blowing up that single Razorback. I think that's about it. Yeah, that's about all I did this turn. So we're back with Space Marine turn 3 and see what they do. Alright, so I took a literal beating that turn. It was bad. I lost all my Megnobs, and I lost all but the Knob in that squad right there. He's fleeing now. Gaz did make his leadership check though, so he's all by himself. That truck still lives. This squad that I have here got assaulted by the Terminators. Luckily the Terminators whiffed. Only killed 2 guys in the charge of their 15 attacks. But I killed none in turn with Overwatch or with my attacks back. So it was bad for me, but at least I'm still alive. Over here, the guardsmen only lost, I think, 2 guys, maybe, if that. But the Storm Raven went into hover mode, unloaded the Terminators, fired him a Basilisk, got 2 penetrating hits, but I made both my cover saves from the big building. The Plasma Cannon split off and was helped to kill the Meganobs, along with the Vindicator back there. And the Razorbacks would finish off the rest of that guy's squad right there. So it's looking really rough. My Daka Jet took a whole bunch of fire, but nothing actually connected with it. It just all missed with needing 6 to hit. So at least the Daka Jet's alive. But that's what we got. We have Daka Jet. He's gonna win the game. But we'll be back with turn 3 for the Orks and see if I can't get my Vendetta on. Alright, Ork turn 3 and my Vendetta still did not come on the table. But it wasn't too bad. I lost only 3 Orks over here and I killed a Terminator, so that was kind of worth it for me. Still alive. On the right side, my guardsmen failed to charge in those 3 scouts back there. So they just moved up in there and get charged by a Dreadnought. It's going to be kind of fun. Over here, my Daka jet flew up and killed that squad of scouts. They're still sitting up there because we haven't pulled them off yet, but they're actually all dead. And Gaz joined up with the squad of boys that were in that crater and jumped into that truck. It's probably just going to get blown up, but I'm hoping it ramshackles forward. That's my only hope, really. And, oh, my Colossus finally landed a shot. It finally did something. There was a squad that I blew out of that left-hand Razorback, and I killed all but the sergeant in that squad and also shook that Razorback there in the front. So he did something finally. But that's it, and we'll be back with Space Marine Turn 4 and see what happens. Alright, so back at the end of Space Marine Turn 4, and it keeps going downhill. The one good thing is this combat keeps going on. I killed another Terminator, and they killed another 3 Orks, but I made my leadership of 5, so I'm still stuck in there. That's pretty good. I lost my truck, but they didn't take any other damage. The blast from the Vindicator didn't do anything, so it saved my Orks here, so I might get a charge off before they die. And over here, the Dreadnought moved up because I failed my charge on the Scouts last turn. Flamed me, got shot with that, got shot with the Whirlwind in the back. I lost like 18 guardsmen. Luckily, the Dreadnought whiffed in combat, but I'll be locked in the whole game. Yark's only strength 6, so I can only glance him. And I didn't give me melted bombs to my sergeants. I'm going to have to give sergeants melted bombs next time. But that's where we're at. My Vendetta is automatically coming on this turn, so at least maybe I'll get revenge on the Storm Raven here. We'll be back and see what happens. Alright, so the Orks are fighting their way back into this. I called him a wall finally this turn. I have a lone knob down here because I have Gazgul, so he's fearless, so he didn't take a leadership check because I called him a wall this turn. But he's standing against 4 Terminators, so that's not going to go well for him. My Vendetta came in and shot down the Storm Raven. I got 1 penetrating hit, and it was enough to blow it down with a 6. Over here, I made a charge 9 inches into that Vindicator and combi charged into the Rhino there and exploded the Vindicator and then just wrecked the Rhino. So took care of both those. The guys bailed out, they're fine. And on the right, I actually got a single glancing hit from Yark's Power Claw into that Dreadnought, so that wasn't bad either. I probably will never finish off by the time this game ends, but at least I did a glance. So we're back with Space Marine Turn 5 and see what happens. Alright, so back at the end of Space Marine Turn 5, and there wasn't a whole lot for Space Marines to do because everything was in combat or flying. So their missiles shot into my Vendetta and didn't do anything because they needed 6 to hit. Their Whirlwind tried to shoot into my Colossus back here and did nothing, well, scattered off and missed. These 2 Terminators, though there was 4, my Knob went down fighting at least and killed 2 Terminators in the fight, but then of course got squished by Thunderhammers. So the Knob got wiped out, but at least there's only 2 of them left. The Razorback just came flat out, went 12 inches, then moved in the shooting phase, going for my objective down here on the bottom. And over here I got shot up and then charged, and their captain killed like 5 Orks or something like that on the charge. Like I think everything hit and everything wounded. Challenged with his sergeant, so I accepted with a knob, squished the sergeant, and then Gazgul squished the rest of the squad. So there's like the captain and 1 single Marine left over there versus my knob and Gazgul. So I think I'm going to win that fight, but it won't matter too much. And over here I put another whole point on the Dreadnought with Commissar Yark. So if I do 1 more, I can break free of that and maybe contest an objective late game, but this is turn 5, so I'll need to go like turn 7 maybe. So we'll be back with Ork turn 5 and see what happens. Alright, Ork turn 5, I devised a plan to tie up the game here at the end, but it failed me. So we're going to see if it goes on, but I shot into the Terminators here. If I was able to kill those 2 Terminators and also kill the captain, that would have been Warlord, and I'd have got rid of Linebreaker and it would have been a draw. But I didn't kill the Terminators, and I also didn't kill the captain. So I got nothing. But this went into hover mode and blew up the Razorback. My guys from inside, just my not junior officers, they are platoon command squad, got out and took my objective. Everything fired in over here to the Terminators, did nothing. This fired in, blew that up. In combat, my knob squished the last Marine, and Gazgul did not squish a captain. Made all of his vulnerable saves and 4-ups, so that went not very well. And over here, I did not do the last glancing hit on that Dreadnought, so it's just punching guardsmen every turn. But we're going to roll a dice, see if the game goes on, and see if we have turn 6. It's a 4. We do have turn 6, so we're back on turn 6 for Marines. Alright, so the end of Space Marine turn 6, and the stupid captain still survives. I hit 3 times with Gaz, then rolled 2 ones, and then the other one got an invulnerable save on it, so that's ridiculous. The captain just will not die. Over here, these Marines charged out of that wreck and into this squad, killed 2 of my guys, and I actually paid my leadership checks, so we're still standing there. And then the Terminators charged and blew up my Colossus, and I got a glancing hit into my Vendetta from the 2 missile launchers there in the middle. But the big news is Yark finally glanced that Dreadnought to death, so my guardsmen are free, so at least I can try to contest an objective. That'll be the goal of the turn. So back with Ork and IG turn 6. Alright. Alright, so the end of Orc turn 6, and I lost my guys on objective, so now the Space Marines are holding my objective. But Gaz finally squished that captain, made another 2 invulnerable saves, with the third one took him down. So I got Warlord finally, and over in the corner my guardsmen went on a rampage and killed the Whirlwind and killed the squad of scouts, but there's 2 squads of tactical Marines still back there who are contesting the objective. So that one is contested right now with a Yark and a whole bunch of guardsmen on it. And then, of course, they holding mine with Linebreaker, and they got First Blood. So right now the Marines are definitely ahead. We're going to go and see if they win it with a dice roll here. See if the game ends. Oh, wherever it went. It's a 5. That was really small. But going on turn 7, so we'll be back and see what happens. Alright, we just went and did all of turn 7 because there was not much going on. These guys moved back and shot at Gazgul and his friend. Sorry, these models aren't there. And put another wound on Gaz with a plasma gun, but didn't do any major damage. Everything else kind of just shuffled around. They tried to snapfire my Vendetta down, but missed it. In the back, I got assaulted by 3 separate squads, but they were all really small. There was like a squad of 1, a squad of 3, and then a squad of 4, I think. And they killed all of my guardsmen except for my 3 sergeants who have power axes and Yarrick. And then I swung back and killed the squad of 3, the squad of 1, and 2 out of the squad of 4. And so there was only 2 Marines left alive back there on the Space Marine turn. And then on my turn, I finished them off with Yark, killing last 2. So I actually hold that objective with Yark and a single sergeant in the back there. So I took that objective. Over here, they still have this objective. I fired in with Gaz with his big shooter, and also with my Vendetta. Ended up killing 2 of them. They needed a leadership check. They rolled a 9 on the nose, and their sergeant's still alive. So they did not run. If they'd have broke, that'd have been the game. But anyway, so they took my objective, so they have Linebreaker. I took their objective, so they have Linebreaker. So those are a push. Space Marines got First Blood, and I got Warlord. So it's going to be an even draw. It's 5 versus 5. So it was a really bloody game. There's like a whole 7 models left on the Space Marine side, and 5 models left on my side, but one of them happens to be Vendetta. So it was, everybody's dead all around. I know I started with 120 models, so that means I have like 115 dead. But thanks for watching, and it was a good game.